It was a habit for me to check my bank app first thing in the morning. My phone buzzed on the nightstand while my fingers searched through the crackling of sleep until I came to the icon. Some people use it to browse social media or read the news. I watched the figures update, and it gave me a little peace of mind that everything was fine on Monday. Standing in the bathroom doorway, half-dressed, holding a travel coffee mug in one hand and a shirt sleeve dangling off the other, I tapped the app and waited for it to load. Behind me, the shower steam curled like a curtain resting on my shoulder. I anticipated the recognizable red and green of debits and credits, the regular computation of my salaries, expenditures, and resupplies. What I saw instead made the $75,000. Mug quiver in my hand mid-rotation. $75,000. Gone. My heart jumped. My jaw dropped as coffee sloshed over the rim. It felt as though I had exhaled every comforting breath I'd ever taken. That morning, I looked at the transaction list in disbelief. Multiple entries with crisp, impersonal labels. Font premium travel, boutique hotels, fine dining, and one, a single mysterious line, private SAR service. But there was no name, no description to reveal who had made that reservation. I didn't book a ticket to Paris. I didn't eat at a fancy restaurant in Rome. And I definitely didn't hire a driver to get around Geneva at night. My wife, Ivy, was out of town, or so she had told me, called to Chicago for an unexpected conference and a regular client visit. Chicago sounded reasonable, but the flights I saw were transnational, and suddenly I felt like I had been played. I shut off the faucet, leaned against the marble. My breath caught. I nearly dropped my mug. Eyes wide, I watched my reflection, swimming in the mirror. Unblinking, as if staring long enough would reverse what I'd seen, a single drop of coffee smeared across the counter. I gulped hard as I studied my reflection's chin. This wasn't a malfunction. It wasn't a glitch. It was deliberate. $75,000 didn't vanish because of some technical error. Someone did this, and that someone might have been Ivy. I hadn't called the bank yet. My adrenaline surged past fear and settled into something colder, a fragrance of frigid control. I swiped open our map app. We'd always shared locations, for safety. Her dot was there, in Chicago, or so I believed. She'd used the same app to reassure me she'd be home Wednesday. My heart pounded against my ribs as I zoomed out. The dot was still in morning mode, stationary in Chicago. Time! Then I panned east, across the Atlantic. The city label changed to Paris. I swallowed hard. The Eiffel Tower emblem rose above the ocean line. A plane approached the French continent. My wife was halfway around the world, not in Chicago. Could Ivy be staged? Compelled into this? Maybe someone had her credentials? But why spend? Her device was too fancy. The entries too detailed. No, she was complicit. My lips tightened. My heart thundered in my throat. But I stayed composed. I needed evidence. Clarity. First, I would determine her exact destination. I opened the flight tracker app. The UI crawled as it updated. Tangled code untangled into a flight number. France, Flight 67. Departed JFK at midnight. Expected arrival, 1 a.m. She was in the air. 35,000 feet, European time. And I, her husband, was tracking her like a private investigator. I had time. 7 hours. I placed the phone on the counter, looked at the creamy pool of coffee spreading across the white tile. I reached for a towel, wiped it away. It had grown to look almost like blood, but no cloth could absorb what I felt. I dried my hands, ignoring the thought that seeing my money vanish wasn't something a towel could fix. I entered our bedroom, shivering slightly. Reached under the bed for her bag. Locked, but not impenetrable. I didn't need everything. Just a boarding pass. Proof of her intent, I took the bag and rushed downstairs, headset in hand. Any lie would do to buy time for what the bank call might reveal. Laptop balanced in one hand, a muffled podcast in one ear. I placed her luggage on the office desk. Logged into our joint airline account. Everything was there, and then I saw it. 2 tickets, one in her name, the other, Julian Marks. My blood ran cold. I had met Julian Marks once, briefly. He was no client, not a business partner. Ivy had mentioned him in passing. Some gym friend. Spin class. A charity event. Back then, it felt harmless. Now, it was betrayal, wrapped in casual banter and camaraderie. A fierce resentment flared inside me. She had been lying for weeks about where she was, about who she was with, about where our money went. I didn't shout, didn't scream. Not yet. Instead, I clicked the customer service line for my bank. A sterile voice asked how they could help. "I'd like to report unauthorized transactions on my account," I said slowly. "Yes. I'll hold." The empathy in the agent's voice was scripted but enough. She confirmed my identity. "Would you like to freeze the card?" she asked. "Immediately." I clicked back to the flight tracker. The jet icon moved. Ivy, unaware she was about to be found out, the bank rep returned. "Your card will be locked within minutes." "Thank you," I said. Hung up. Looked out the window. Dawn was breaking, pastel, colors brushing the skyline. This wasn't just a routine check of my bank app. It was the start of unraveling a life built on lies. I hovered my thumb over the mouse, watching the illusion crumble. The tiny jet flickered over the Atlantic. Approaching. Ireland, then the Channel. My coffee had gone cold, but I couldn't feel it anymore. The light from the living room glowed faintly on the laptop screen. The flight tracker bar illuminated each step of betrayal. Her voice, that bright, chipper tone. "I'll send photos from the loop," she'd said. All lies. I opened our group chat, scanned messages from friends, co-workers, even her cousins. Nothing from her, nothing at all. Just that blue dot, still, silent. The seat beside me on the couch, empty. Her warmth gone, and the air colder than the morning ever was. I pushed back from the desk.